So these types of situations where a person is used to lying and used to speaking about other people, mocking them, speaking lashon hara about them, how could you really do tshuva? While in reality, all of his statements are of course, all of his words are written down in the book, in the Bezin Shalmaila. Everything is recorded. Okay, we know all of this technology. The Chavetz Chaim spoke about the movie camera as being a means to remind us how we can envision how everything is recorded in Shemayim. He said if we have trouble understanding how could HaKadosh Baruch Hu remember, well, now that with the advent of the movie camera, it became very easy to imagine that. And now with all the added technology of the last 100 years, it's so much more so that every single move we make, we can certainly relate to the fact that it's recorded. You can't escape in today's world. Well, that's certainly alachas kama v'kama, how much more so it is in the next world where HaKadosh Baruch Hu is determining everything. So, all of his words are watched for him, so to speak, and recorded. And it's written in a special, unfortunate black book of sins that this person has committed. As the pasuk in Tehillim says, if you come to visit me, shav yidaber liboy, you're not sincere. As HaKadosh Baruch Hu is bemoaning the state of affairs for Klal Yisrael when they're not doing the right thing, shav yidaber liboy, your heart is not with me. You're faking. Yigbotz oven loy. You're gathering up all the information of negative things that you're thinking about, so you're really there. On the outside, you seem to be very nice. You're visiting me when I'm not feeling well, but all you're doing is you're gathering up different ways of having iniquity, having sin. He goes outside and he speaks all of this stuff outside. So there's no real integrity there's no real sincerity. And that's what happens with people. Very often we connect to people just for one purpose, to talk about them later, to find that information that we can share with other people. This is what David HaMelech bemoaned in Tehillim. Furthermore, it says about this individual, a person who doesn't have that sensitivity, but only chavero. In Re'isa Ganav, if you see a Ganav atiretz imoy, and you sort of make friends with him, and if with adulterers is your portion, you send your mouth out for evil, and your tongue becomes accustomed to deceit. You sit and you speak about your brother, then and you speak disparagingly about the son of your mother. Again, notice how this is the kind of sort of two-faced type of individuals, unfortunately, that we have seen throughout the history of Klal Yisrael. Notice that these three averos are put together in the same pasuk. David Melech puts adulterers and ganovim and speakers of lashon hara together. That's how insidious the avera is. And think about it, if that's how bad it is, how do you undo an avera which is so widespread? We know the famous mashal about the pillow, where you send you send the feathers all over. You open up the pillow, you send the feathers out. Now the job is gather up all the feathers and put it back in the pillow. You're on top of a mountain and they're all over the place. You can't pick up those feathers anymore. Well, that's lashon hara, and that's the almost impossible task of trying to undo and do tshuva for that lashon hara. V'nemar od vish berei yoselu. Another pasuk in Yirmiyahu also bemoaning the state of affairs that Klal Yisrael, one man against his neighbor, he mocks, he makes fun, he puts him down. This is a very serious avera that clearly was an issue. As I mentioned, throughout Jewish history, it's certainly the particular avera of lashon hara that we are suffering from still today, and it's certainly one of the situations that the Chovos HaLevavos says is going to be very difficult to do tshuva from. Ken Kosher, another one, next paragraph. Ken Kosher lachzor b'tshuva l'misha hesiach v'diach b'nei adam achem adei shabodol em das. Another difficulty in doing tshuva is for somebody who's a mesis mediach. He incites and he or she encourages people to go off the derech. Badal hemdas. He gives out false philosophies, false hashkafas. He gets people to buy into something crazy, which is not Torah. And he convinces them to believe in this mishigas, things that are new and foreign to Masorah. And if a person buys into that, could lead to horrific things. This person has a hard time doing tshuva because when you're a mesis and mediach, when you encourage other people to join you in your folly of your crazy ashkafis, and this is okay and that's old fashioned, this doesn't apply anymore, and you've got this type of God you believe in, or that kind of mentality, whatever it might be, that's keneged Torah, that's opposite of Torah, you become in the category of a chote amachte. Not only are you a sinner, but you cause others to sin. And the more people that buy into this crazy philosophy of this particular individual who is misguiding, guiding them in the wrong way, and he is misguided and he's causing them to be misguided, the more people involved, the greater the sin. So it's bad enough that you convince 2 people to go off the derech. Now you got 10 people, 15 people, and we know there have been people throughout the world's history. We've seen them even in our recent history. They've been very charismatic, and they've been able to convince people to do things that are literally crazy. They mass suicides are being committed by people because they buy into some guy's crazy idea. We just did that, right? That it just exacerbates the avera and expounds the avera. The more people involved, as we know in the mission of Os, if you are a person who supports the tzibur and you help people to do mitzvos, you bring them closer to Shemayim, to Yirah Shemayim, ein chet ba'al yodo. Such a person is almost immune from sin. HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects that person, and the person is sort of has a special aura around them that sin doesn't come through them. But on the other hand, if God forbid the person causes others to sin, like what we're talking about now, ein maspikim be'odalas tshuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not facilitate tshuva for such a person because of the horrific nature of what this person is doing. For example, the most infamous probably of all time about somebody who could have been extremely great and unfortunately did not grab the opportunity. Yeravam chata vechtis rabim. We know Yeravam ben Nevat was a sinner and he also caused others to sin. Chet rabim toli boy, and therefore as a result the sin of the community, of the overall population, hang on his head. Shemar al chatois Yeravam ashachata, on the sins of Yeravam which he committed, ashechtes Israel, and which he caused others, members of Klal Yisrael, to commit as well. So this is next to the last level of sin that is very difficult to do tshuva from, because how do you know? You're just misguiding people. You're giving them wrong hashkafas. You don't know how far they're going to take it. You don't know where they go. They're all over the place. You write these articles in some crazy publication, and people buy into it. And that's he's right. This halacha shouldn't apply anymore. And we know unfortunately people write terrible things sometimes, which are completely against Torah. So that becomes an extremely difficult avera to undo, because again, being a chot yamachti means you really don't know how far that sin actually went and how far did other people take it. And the last paragraph is one that's really frightening, because certainly a God-fearing Jew can say, I'm very, very careful, I don't do any arayos, I don't do any geneva. Maybe some people can actually say, I don't do any lashon hara. And there may be holy people that would say that I'm careful almost all these things. So far, nothing that the Chazal has said to me about the difficult averos to do tshuva from don't apply to me, because I don't involve myself in any of those negative things. It's going to be hard for a person as sincere as he or she is to say, I have nothing to do with the last paragraph. That this, what we're about to read, I'm not guilty of, that takes a very special person. And in a way, therefore, we have to really internalize this and The truth of the matter is, the parashas that we just read highlight this concept. And let's just read it through, and we'll see what he's talking about. And amazingly, in the category of a person who is not just a sinner, but also facilitates others to sin, which is an extremely serious place to be, Hugam, another way of getting into this infamous category, and we certainly don't want to be in this category, but one way to get into this level is Hugam mishayecholos biyodo letzavos lasos tov. If a person had the ability to command others to do good, and to warn others from doing anything wrong. They see people who are straying from the proper path. They see people who are not doing the right thing. They're mistaken. They're uneducated. They're misguided. But even though you could have taught, even though you could have rebuked, even though you could have encouraged and you could have directed, you didn't. Maybe because you don't want to upset them because you want to get money from them. So who am I to start, jeopardizing my financial well-being here? I want to ask him for a big check. So how can I then tell him that he's doing something wrong? Maybe they're very powerful. Maybe I don't want to set up because I'm afraid they're going to beat me up. Who knows what? Some people just naturally, it's not my speed, it's not my style. I'm a softer person. I don't have the strength to really do that. It's just not who I am. But they, as a result of you not standing up and doing anything about it, they continue to sin. You didn't teach them the proper way. What interesting and similar language that's used about Avram Avinu on a positive level, where he did teach them the right way. And how Noach was criticized, because while he did rebuke the people and he did tell the people that the world's coming to an end, what he did not do, according to the Sephorah, is to teach them to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to know HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So look at this incredible responsibility the Chovos HaLevavos is placing on our shoulders in terms of what we have to do to better the spiritual state of the people around us. That person who could have, and it's a famous Ramban on the pasuk in Devarim in Kisava, Ora Ashla Yokim is Divrei Torah Azos. Cursed be the one who does not uphold this Torah. And the Ramban quotes Yerushalmi that somebody who had the ability to effectuate a positive change in others, no matter how much of a tzaddik you are, if you fail to care about the fact that other Jews are sinning and you're not doing anything about it, you could have maybe uplifted the Rasha, you could have changed his ways a little bit by trying to teach him, and you didn't. Gam Adam Zehu B'chal Machtis Rabim. It's really frightening. This person is in the category of somebody who's Machtis Rabim, somebody who causes others to sin. How did I cause others to sin? I didn't do anything. I just sat in my room and I was quiet. But you could have done something. And it seems what he's saying is, and as he ends the paragraph, what he's saying is that what anybody does as a result of your silence, he's saying to us, that's on you. Because you could have prevented that. You could have done something to change this person's trajectory. And Rahman al-Tzlan, that person gets punished for the sins of that other individual. As the pasuk in Yecheskel tells us, you did not speak to warn the Rasha about the way that he's going. Who Rasha? He indeed is a Rasha, says Yecheskel. He will die in his sin because he did some terrible things and he has to get punished. However, but his blood that he died because of his sins, I'm going to seek out from you. I'm going to feel that you're responsible, and you're going to have to answer for that. It's a frightening concept. One that we really see a lot, and it's really very, very interesting. What made Pinchas so special? We just read about it. Because he stood up and he killed Cosby and Zimri. And why? And when he killed them, what happened? The plague stopped. Well, what plague? What was the plague? The plague, the people who already committed the sin, who are committing the lewd act of having relations publicly with these Gentile ladies, they had already perished. But the answer is because the plague would have continued because the rest of the Jewish people didn't stop them. They didn't complain. They didn't protest. And therefore, it was Pinchas's chus, in his merit, the plague stopped, but the plague came on because of the fact that where were you, Klal Yisrael? How did you stand idly by and let that happen without protesting, without doing something? So again, in today's world, I'm not sure if it's the protest that we have to do or the teaching. It seems to be more of the teaching and the concern and the love we have to have for our fellow Jew, and just the pain that we have to feel that things are not going well. That there's so many Jews who don't know what to do and how to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But this is a very strong, really almost frightening message to all of us, that part of our job as Jews is not simply to make sure we're doing the right thing, but to really figure out what we can do to make sure others are doing the right thing as well. Okay, with this we come to the end of Perek Tes, and we can start make a little bit of an inroads in Perek Yud. So what do we do? So on the one hand, you finish Perek Tes, you sort of say, oh my gosh. So these are various that we've done, and maybe there are people who say that they never spoke of Shahara, but certainly we know how widespread it is, and it's so hard to do tshuva. And what do you do, and how do you undo these sins? So this is what he's going to address in Perek Yud, in the last Perek here of Shari Tshuva. Ala she'ela eza eitza yesh la'adam she'asa avera shekosher lachzor la b'tshuva. And on the question that all of you have, give me some advice. What do I do? How do I get out of this particular mess that I'm in, that I've perpetrated an avera that's difficult to do tshuva from? He didn't know since a tshuva haba. Let me give you the following answer, and somewhat assuage your concerns. Avera shekashel l'sakin osaydei tshuva michedas os avera. In avera that's very difficult to do tshuva for that particular sin, to sort of connect the tshuva directly to the sin. By definition, it involves one of two types of sins. Like we mentioned earlier, either it's a sin that involves a breaking of an understanding between a Jew and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we have mitzvahs that HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects us to do, and we didn't do them. But it's only between us and Hashem. That's one type. Or the other type, of course, which deal with the Berom L'Chaver between one Jew and another. Ramos, for example, trickery, Geneva, stealing, Gazela, open robbery, Chamas V'Yavel, all types of extortion and iniquity and types of deceit, sin. It really does not matter at the end of the day whether they're from the category of Berom L'Moko or they're from the category of Berom L'Chavero. If a person cannot find a way to do tshuva for any of the reasons that I mentioned in the earlier parak, that based on what I previously explained, you find it very difficult how do I possibly really rectify the wrong that I did? I can't put my hand on it. I can't get my hands around it per se. I don't even know where to go and how to go. But if a person does fulfill the essential qualities of tshuva, like we mentioned before, the feeling bad, the acceptance upon oneself not to do it anymore, Kabbalah Asid, Aziva Sechet, leaving the sin, the vidui, the oral confession. So you've done what you need to do. And this person fulfilled all of the details to the best of their ability, whatever they can do. So I've done my best. So now what? But is your best enough? There's still things you have to do, right? You haven't returned the money. You haven't asked for mechila. So what are you going to do? Az habore mekel alav is a tshuva. If you do everything, and this is a fundamental point in life, when you do whatever you can do, the siyata shema you have after that is incredible. Az habore mekel alav is a tshuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes tshuva easier. He lightens the load. And he will ultimately forgive him. And here the Chovos HaLevavos is saying it. Okay, you have a Rishon who you can rely on. You can say, "Hey, Achamei v'Hashim Shana." Chovos HaLevavos says, "I'm as good as forgiven. I've done what I can." Okay, anything else that's removed from him and he can't do anymore, he will find. He will facilitate. HaKadosh Baruch Hu facilitate for him easy ways of extricating himself from the sin, Mamslo hisnatzus rabbis love, and he'll find many good excuses and reasons and situations that will ultimately clear this individual. So if you try your best, you will find incredible siyat d'shmaya, that things will happen down the line that, wow, I can't believe this occurred. I can't believe this situation came up that allowed me to get myself out of this mess. For example, l'mashal. So what does he mean? Let's be specific. L'mashal. For example, im uchata imachas marayis v'omer mamzer. This is a tough one and one that really needs to be further explained based on the Gemara and Yavamis. So I'll just try to explain quickly. For example, he says, remember we said about the mamzer, we said that if a person sins and has a illicit relationship, and from that relationship a mamzer comes, that mamzer is sort of a living indictment to that person's problem. Okay, so what could happen, doesn't mean it definitely will happen, but what could happen to sort of extricate that indictment and that statement? Habari yashmin esazera haposel sholim. There are reasons the Gemara says that sometimes people leave the world. And they don't always leave the world for their own sin. They leave sometimes the world for other factors. So for example, the Gemara says, in this particular case of the mamzer, what happens if a mamzer is not known? If a mamzer is not known, HaKadosh Baruch Hu might take that mamzer and take him from the world, or her from the world. Why? Because since nobody knows, anybody who marries this person is going to be living in sin every single day of their lives. Well, you have a mamzer b'kal Hashem. Now again, is it fair? Again, we have questions all the time. How does it all fit in to the justice of the world? Well, HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously has the ultimate justice. So that's not for us. We can't go there. But at the end of the day, if somebody was asked at 13 years old, at 14 years old, even though that might be tough for us to answer that question, but if you can leave this world right now and go straight to Gan Eden at 14, would you do it? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us, straight deal, I'll take you now, but if you lived another 90 years, you never would get to the level in Gan Eden that you'll get to if I take you at 14. Who wouldn't take that deal? Okay? Who wouldn't take that deal? But it doesn't mean that it's not tragic when a 14-year-old leaves the world. Of course it's tragic, but in the overall scheme, we cry, but doesn't mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and that kid is crying upstairs, because for them that could have been the biggest bracha. So, the world is run in a way that's way, way out of our realm to appreciate. But the point is that might happen. And the challenge of this individual to do tshuva based on the fact that this mamzer is in this world might not be there anymore, because there might be factors that will allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to take that mamzer from the world. So that's one example of where things might occur that the challenge that you had in making tshuva difficult might not be there. That's a tough one. Probably the toughest one for us to sort of emotionally connect to. Because at the end of the day, it means somebody dying. But again, we're not causing that death. That's not something that we cause. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world, and he figures it all out. But more practically, I guess, for us, if let's say a person sins on a monetary level, going sharima or shagazel, you trick somebody, or shagazel, or you stole from a person. You had this Rolex watch with it wasn't Rolex. It was not spelled the right way, and you got it for $4. In some on some corner in Manhattan, and then you sold it for $1,000 from some guy who didn't know how to spell and didn't know what a good Rolex from a fake one. So the point is, and now you don't know how to do tshuva. Okay, so many of ways in the financial realm of how it could be problematic. So one example, I don't have the money to pay back. I want to pay back. I don't have the money to pay back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could give him the money. Wow, I came into all this money. I can't believe it. Now I can pay back the people that I owe. How'd I get, why'd you get this money? How'd you get this money? Because you tried your best to do tshuva. But now you have a problem of how am I going to finish the job? Because Baruch Hu will facilitate that you'll end up with money, and you got that money. You don't, maybe you'll never think it's why you got the money. But your job is to calculate, now that I have the money, I got to do what I got to do and take care of the people that I owe. And to appease a person until you get forgiveness. If a person caused another person damage, whether it be physically or maybe just in terms of reputation, The chaverin wrote to limchalo, and the friend says, "No, I'm not being mochi. So you tried. You went over. You tried. Person's being obstinate. What do? Do you now agitate and agonize? Oh my gosh, I can't get tshuva. I'm not getting tshuva. You did the best you could. What might happen? Habori yizborach yachnes salev chavero. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can sort of bring a different feeling and a different spirit into the heart of that friend. Okay, rikshay pius v'ave love. Feelings of emotion, of compassion, of appeasement, of love. You know what? It's all good. It's all good. Something can happen. Something can awaken within a person. HaKadosh Baruch Hu could facilitate that. Now, he doesn't make people do certain things, although that could happen as well. Sometimes we do have a concept that in rare moments, HaKadosh Baruch Hu can literally sort of take over the ashkacha and the bechira of a person. It's just not generally the way the world runs. But even if it's not dictating bechira, even just to sort of create a different ruach within the person, a different spirit, a different perspective, that can happen. And now the person now is ready to forgive. Until the person actually gets forgiveness for the sin. As the pasuk says, a mishlei, if the ways of a man are in the path that HaKadosh Baruch Hu likes, this person is fulfilling the Ratan Hashem, and he's finding HaKadosh Baruch Hu is he's finding favor in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's eyes. Gam oivav yashal mito, even if his enemies will make peace with him. So if you're doing the right thing, you'll find it'll all work out. Just keep pushing the right thing. Keep pressing on to just keep trying, do the best you can, because Baruch Hu will facilitate wonderful things for that person. Let's say the nigzal, the person I stole is in another country. I don't even know where he is. I haven't tracked. How can I track him down? Look what I happened to meet. I had a story with me where there's a certain fellow, a certain episode in high school, and I've bemoaned the fact, and whatever, is teenager, and you do crazy stuff, and this kid did something to me, and I decided to get even, unacceptable emotion, so I played some shtick with some buddies, and we went to a bakery, and I left him there. So, not a nice thing to do, and he was stuck there, and he had to take some buses back. But remember, years later, I was saying to myself, my gosh, I never asked him for mechila, and how can I find him? It's, he's a graduate of a high school. How do you track this guy down? And sure enough, I don't know, maybe 5-10 years into the time that we're in Los Angeles, I get a call. Can I come for Shabbos? This fellow, okay, we'll call him Shmuel, says, I'm in Los Angeles, remember me? Of course I remember you. He says, yeah, can I come for Shabbos? He didn't even remember. He had forgotten totally about the story. He didn't harbor any ill will towards me. So, and he called me, but I said, of course you can come for Shabbos. I am so thrilled. And I can even ask him, and when he came, I asked him for Mechila and Baruch Hashem. He didn't remember. He said, Michael, you, but, he didn't think, somehow he blocked it out. I guess he enjoyed the Danish so much that it didn't matter to him. But, Lamaisa, but, so these things happen. You wonder, you scratch your head of all the people, whatever, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu works it out. You do the best you can. Okay, so, one second. Right, so what happens? If you don't recognize the people that you stole from, you don't know how much you stole. Sometimes your mamish could have just been funneling cash out. You don't even know how much cash you stole. Yavi also a kele de kach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu can bring you to the position. Shiotzi es mamono l'tzorchei tzibur. You will be brought to a position where you will be spending money for the needs of the community. Hamaviyim to elsaram, that brings benefit to the overall community, to the multitudes. Going livnias gesher, building bridges. Ola chafiras be'eros, to build wells, dig wells. Shmei adam rabim nenmeim, where everybody is benefiting from them. Or chatzivas boros bedrachim shamayim enam mitzuyim bem, or maybe desolate areas which don't have a lot of rainwater, and you facilitate the digging of certain wells and pits to bring water in places where they didn't have water before. Oladvarm Doma was similar types of things. Hamavim to El Saklal, that bring a general benefit to the overall community. B'yofin shegam elishu gazel mehem, where you don't even know, but those people that you stole from are now being paid back by your efforts. That guy who would have paid $100 to have a barrel of water is now getting his money paid back because it's your well that's feeding him and his camels. So all of this, it's only in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's world where all this can all even up and be figured out. Where even those who didn't steal from him are benefiting in a general sense, and these specific victims are going along and being compensated as well and getting their money back, and that's all a way of undoing the sin. Let's say if Rahman al-San, the person already passed away that you stole from, so he's not even here. There are ways where you can give the money back to his heirs. You can find the kid and you can say, you know what, I have a check for you. I owe your father money. I'm being yotze by giving it back to his child. That's also a method of return. If you cause him pain and damage, either physically or from his reputation, and now he's no longer here, so you can't undo it in his lifetime, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring you to the point, she's Vad al Kivro, you'll be the person's kever, and you have people around. You'll be able to say, you know what, I want to just take an opportunity, please, and say the key words that have to be said when a person's already passed on, to ask for mechila publicly by the kever. But with 10 people standing there, by doing that, the person gets forgiven. Like the rabbis taught us in Gemara Yuma, you take 10 people to the kever, to the grave, you stand there, and you say these words. Chatasi Hashem Elokei Yisrael, I sinned to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the God of the Jewish people, Ulploni Zeh, and to this individual Shechavalti Ba that I hurt. And now I'm asking in front of all of you, please, Yankel, Shmuel, be mochel me. Okay, so all of these are different, incredible ways for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to weave His hashgacha to get each and every one of us who tries to do tshuva the best tshuva we can get. Kol Shaldavar. So let's just wrap it up with this general paragraph that sort of wraps up this whole concept. Im kayemes meniya hamakeves as a chot elachz b'tshuva. If there is a existing impediment for a person to do tshuva, it's not those which I mentioned. Those are not real impediments, because if a person tries, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will remove those impediments. Okay, if there is an impediment, you want to know what that impediment is? Hameniya Hirak Pneumuso Harav Liba Hamushchas. It's the internal impediment. It's the heart that's bad, that's evil. It's his insides that don't want to do the right thing and that are corrupt. And his heart is a mushchas. His heart is in a very negative and destructive place. Avol imu ro liskorev elolakim. Avolimu wrote but if a person truly is desirous to return to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shara Tshuva Eina Saga B'fanav, the gate of Tshuva is not closed. There is no impediment that a person can't overcome. Everything is there for a person to, again, is it perfect? Is it exact? Are you bringing back the person that, God forbid, a person murdered? And I know it's a hard thing to even imagine, but even let's say even b'shogeg, it requires tshuva, even if he did it unintentionally. But how do you do it? Torah says you do the best you can, and there are things that happen in the world that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will count as you pretty much getting there. And not only that, does HaKadosh Baruch Hu facilitate these things, also HaKadosh Baruch Hu guides you and opens up the proper gate of truth and being upright, and shows you the proper way to live, the proper way to advance, and to do the proper tshuva. Kmo shenemar, as the pasuk in Tehillim says, Teviyav v'yashar Hashem, al kein yorach chaton b'derech. Okay, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is straight and good, and that's why he guides and leads the sinners on the path to return. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants every single Rasha to do tshuva. That's the goal of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He does not want to see Rishayim perish. He wants to see Rishayim become tzaddikim. V'nemar uvikashim mishumas Hashem Elokecha, the famous pasuk in Devarim that you will search out HaKadosh Baruch Hu there in your golus, in your exile, Musasa, you will find him, Kised Yeshenu, if you search for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, b'chol lavcha v'chol nafshecha, with your entire soul, with your entire heart and your entire soul. V'nemar, and the pasuk also, very famous pasuk in Nitzavim, Ki korv elecha davam yoid. The matter of tshuva is right there for you to do. It's not on the other side of the river. It's not on the in the heavens that you have to rent a helicopter or an airplane. It's right there. Beficha ubavavcha asoso. And this is what he means that to facilitate the tshuva properly, all we really have to do is just keep trying and keep pushing ahead. V'nemar, and finally it says, Korov Hashem l'chol, Korov HaKadosh Baruch Hu is close to all those who call out to him, l'chol sheikru v'emes. If you call out in truth, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will answer that call. So Bez Hashem, he has given us really a very positive and optimistic approach, even though there's many averos that seem to be overwhelming and impossible. He's teaching us the only impossible part is when we're not good inside. If something inside is deficient. But if we are sincere in our approach, Bez Hashem, we can do the tshuva that we certainly need. And Bez Hashem, let's hope that we still time to dance at this Tisha B'Av, not cry. Bez Hashem will be zach to be a Meshach Me'ev Yameinu.